Hey everybody, Livingston here. Today we're jumping into another Twilight Zone episode. This time it's Season 2, Episode 17, 22. Came out February 9th, 1961, and it's another episode I haven't sat down and watched before. But before we get started, let's jump into the comments section of last week's episode and see what you had to say about it. P Sparks 3419 says, Livingston, you'll have to read my mind to hear my comments about your excellent commentary. Well, thanks, P Sparks. I appreciate the compliment. Nene's Shubby or Nene's Hubby. I want to say Nene's Hubby. It makes more sense to me. I always like this episode. It's a comedy episode, but it tells an important truth. There's often a vast difference between what we think and what we say. Any husband whose wife has asked him what he thinks about his new outfit knows that, if we know what's good for us. Yeah, I have to agree. Sometimes it's just better to tell a little white lie than it is to actually just tell the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts a little bit, so it's okay just to give you that peace of mind and walk away and think, just keep it to myself. That's usually the best motto. Keep it to yourself if it's not nice. Charles Stewart 8009 says, did you recognize the guy from I Dream of Jeannie early on? Actually, no, I didn't actually recognize him during the show itself, but when I read about it during the trivia part, when I read it at the end of each episode, I learned about it, and I went back and looked at some clips of I Dream of Jeannie. I wasn't much into I Dream of Jeannie compared to, say, Bewitched. I was more inclined to watch Bewitched back in the day when I was sitting around watching it with my grandparents or my grandma or my dad or mom, whoever I was sitting around with. But I would typically watch Nick at Night, and we would watch Bewitched more so than I Dream of Jeannie. Not sure why. I guess the witches were just more my thing than, say, a genie. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for the comment. Akira Kurosawa says, entertaining episode. What would you do in that situation of reading people's thoughts? I think I would do some things maybe to benefit myself, of course. I don't want to be too stingy because I would like to do some good with it as well. It probably would help me out in the dating game of things. I don't think I could blackmail anybody unless it was something that happened in the actual episode where he was blackmailing the guy who was cheating on his wife, so you kind of was like, okay, it's fine, go ahead and do that. I think my conscience would just eat me up. I have a horrible, depending on how you look at it, I have a great conscience in terms of it keeps me honest. I have a horrible conscience if, say, I were in some kind of police lineup and they're questioning me to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna break. I'm sorry, I gotta tell the truth. That's why best thing to do is be as honest as possible. And usually you get by without having to think about all the lies you're accumulating in your brain. I mean, it just kind of sucks to have to live lie to lie to lie. Just tell the truth. What's the harm in telling truth? Anyways, let's jump into the episode and see what we got going on.
The Twilight Zone.
Looks like it was filmed with the in video and not film. Oh, bad dream. No. What happened? That is annoying. Just woken up in a cold sweat. I like these shots. They really stay on her, building up the tension, making you wonder what is behind that door that's potentially keeping her up. Room 305. Oh, faceless nurse. Now, this episode looks rough in comparison to the other episodes, in terms of it being grainy. Is she dreaming? Down. Okay, hit a button. She didn't have to hit a button. The morgue. Ooh, 22. That is the title of the episode. It's a hell of a morgue.
Room for one more, honey.
She is cold.
This is Miss Liz Powell. And at this moment, we have just finished walking with her in a nightmare. The problem here is that both Miss Powell and you will reach a point where it might be difficult to decide which is reality and which is nightmare. But rather peculiar to the Twilight Zone.
I had a feeling last week's episode was lighthearted. This one's jumping into the morgue in death. Some fine glasses you have there, sir.
Hiya, kitten.
Hey.
It's been a long time between talks. Where you been, Barney?
You know how I feel about hospitals, kitten. They kind of depress me.
They depress everybody. That's why visitors are warranted.
If you keep on talking nutsy like this, I gotta think there's something wrong, kitten.
You're really the only one I thought would believe me. When you didn't even call. They aren't dreams. They happen.
Yeah.
Don't write me off, will you? You gotta believe me.
Please?
I'm Barney Kaminer, Liz's agent.
How do you do?
How do you do?
How do you do?
An old doctor wish he were a young intern.
Boy, you're creepy.
You make me wish the same thing.
We're a little feisty today, aren't we?
Bed manners sucks.
Why don't you guys get off the dime? There's nothing wrong with me.
That's what we've been trying to tell you.
Okay,
As a matter of fact, you're in excellent physical condition.
then why are you here?
I guess a dancer's life isn't the easiest, is it?
Well, that she's the best little stripper that ever...
Dancer.
Stripper.
Well, Doc, what's it gonna be tonight? Discussion about Freud, dreams?
He seems familiar.
By your account, you keep rejecting the fact that it is a dream.
Is he the doctor from
I know quite the reverse.
Lost in Space?
You say it always happens in perfect chronology.
Yes.
You feel thirsty. You reach for the glass slips out of your hand and breaks on the floor.
And then I hear the footsteps outside. They are the footsteps of a nurse.
Yes, we knew that faceless nurse got into the elevator. She went down to the morgue.
I open the door, and I see this nurse going into an elevator. The elevator goes down to the basement floor. Room 22.
It's the hospital morgue, Mr. Kaminer. Room for one more, honey.
Why do you have to say it like that?
It's a weirdo, Doc. It's a very weird dream.
Yeah, but how'd she know the room number? 22. Did she go back down there?
You bring her in here. I'll point her out. I know her face as well as I do my own.
Let's see.
This is an eerie one. Oh, is that her?
This is Miss Jameson. She's the night nurse assigned to the basement floor.
Look at her face.
Nurse, I might add, Miss Powell. Look at her.
Is it her?
Is this your phantom lady?
No, this woman is tall, and she's got this crazy kind of a smile on her face.
We all thank you.
Thank you.
It obviously is a dream. You'll have to admit it's very unlikely that the woman you saw could have come out of the morgue.
I know what I saw.
Prove my point. Let's try something different.
Okay.
That your actions are always the same.
Yeah.
Or as you say when you're waking up, don't reach for the glass. See if breaking the routine a bit won't stop it from happening.
Can she control the dream?
A nightmare in this case would be the norm. Let's see what this evening brings.
Now, you stay hip to what the doc here is telling you.
You couldn't boost morale if it weighed a quarter of a pound and you had a derrick.
Jeez.
Thanks for coming over. Only make it next year, will you?
Oh, kitten, baby.
Get out, will you, Barney?
Hey, you jerk. Scram.
Remember about tonight, Miss Powell. When you feel the compulsion to repeat the nightmare, don't do it. Now relax. I think we're on our way to recovery.
I don't like him as my doctor. 12:10. Go to sleep. La la la. Here we go. Nightmare time. Good morning. Don't drink it. You don't need it. But is she dreaming? You're gonna break the glass. Don't break the glass. There you go. Cigarette. Yeah. It's all better. That shot of nicotine and tar. Still drop the glass, so she can't change the events. Don't get out of bed. She's getting out of bed. Jump out the window instead. She's definitely not trying to break protocol here. Back to bed. She went downstairs. Why? She's not doing a good job breaking what she was supposed to be breaking, which was her routine in this dream. Welcome again to room 22. Whoa.
Room for one more, honey.
Scream. Why don't you run in there next time? She did everything the same other than taking out a cigarette. Wake up!
Well, I think she'll sleep now.
Good.
Hmm.
Now that's really odd.
What is, Doctor?
Following someone down the corridor, going down to the morgue.
More.
She's never been there before.
Patients are allowed there.
Room 22.
You just caught on to that, huh?
Well, if she'd never been there, how would she know?
Exactly.
How would she?
Everything packed? Your agent is here. He said to phone down to the lobby when you're ready. He'll meet you.
I sense a horrible thing is going to happen. I feel like she's going to die, and she's going to see it from the point of view of being wheeled in on a stretcher or something.
Send me a postcard from Miami Beach, will you?
Sure.
They were dreams. That's what happens when a mind is overwrought. It plays tricks. The next time I see you, I'll be at a ringside table, and I'd appreciate a subtle wink.
Well, you're a creep. Jeez.
Hey, you're all set, Miss Powell. That's the non-stop to Miami, departing from Area C in approximately 5 minutes.
Your seat assignment's on the envelope there.
Is the plane going to crash or something?
Is that Area C out there?
Yes, ma'am. Flight 22 is loading now, and you can get aboard anytime.
Uh-oh. 22, morgue, don't get on the plane.
You can board now.
No, don't do it.
Thank you very much.
Boy, this is reminding me of a movie. Final Destination, anybody? Yeah, don't get on that plane.
I'm thirsty, but I'm awake. This couldn't be a dream.
What is she gonna do? Oh, there's too many omens. Room for one more. I'm waiting for a stewardess to say that.
Hurry up a little, miss. That's your flight ready for departure out there.
Don't go. Don't go. And she's going. I'm kind of hoping she doesn't get on the airplane now. I bet you it's the stewardess at the beginning, like right at the door. Room for one more. Is that gonna make her just go, nope? Run the other direction. Run.
Room for one more, honey.
There you go. Okay. There it goes.
This couldn't be a dream. It's not a dream. It just couldn't be. Not now.
Just like Final Destination. Well, now we know where the heck they got Final Destination from.
Hospital diagnosis, acute anxiety brought on by overwork and fatigue. With rest and care, she'll probably recover.
Well, I was wrong. She didn't get wheeled into the morgue. It was
To be found in the Twilight Zone.
not bad.
And now, Mr. Serling.
Wait, what's this?
You'll sit in these seats and you'll go through an experience unique beyond words. You'll be departing next week at about this time. In a vehicle we call the Odyssey of Flight 33. But be prepared for a stop midway in the Twilight Zone.
Huh. That's interesting. Guess we'll find out next week on that one, huh? Well, that's it. 22, episode 17 of The Twilight Zone is finished. I enjoyed it. Didn't actually think that I was going to be walking into another episode where they clearly got a movie from. Final Destination. Final Destination, if you haven't seen it, is basically this episode. The very first act of the movie is this episode, and it goes in from because the guy survived the airplane basically blowing up, he pulled 4 other friends off. So it was like 5 or 6 survivors from that airline by not getting on the actual airplane. But because of that, it kickstarts death itself coming after them because they were supposed to die in that plane. And since they didn't die, now they're just marked. And one of them, of course, are dying one at a time until you get down to the last few. It's much like a horror movie in the same thing as like death is now the big creature that's following them, much like Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger. Very interesting to think that this episode kickstarted an entire franchise of like 6 movies. If you haven't seen all of them, that's okay, but the first 2 are actually pretty cool. Check those out if you haven't. The acting was awesome. I enjoyed the way the actress was very much being portrayed in this, and the guy playing the doctor, I believe he is the doctor from Lost in Space. We're going to check that out right now. by jumping into some trivia. Barbara Nichols accidentally fell when she was running down the airplane stairs and back onto the runway. Although Barbara's fall on the tarmac wasn't in the script, director Jack Smite loved it and kept this shot in. Well, that's cool. One of those happy accidents. Arlene Martell, credited here as Arlene Sachs, plays the nurse in the morgue who taunts Liz Powell with the room for one more line. In order to make her look more sinister, they use makeup to give her a somewhat demonic look, complete with arched eyebrows. She would later land her most famous role, that of T'Pring, the woman betrothed to Spock in Amok Time. Wow, that's cool. The interesting thing is that a picture of her as the nurse in 22 is almost identical to the appearance in Amok Time. I've watched some of the episodes of the original series, not all of them, actually a great deal of them. The fourth of the 6 episodes to be videotaped. Oh, I knew. You can tell just by looking at the way the grain was. It just wasn't right. The story was adapted by Rod Serling from a short anecdote in the 1944 Bennett Cerf Random House anthology Famous Ghost Stories, which itself was an adaptation of The Bus Conductor, a short story by E.F. Benson. The Bus Conductor is also the inspiration for one of the segments in the anthology horror film Dead of Night. Spoiler, inspired the film Final Destination, particularly the final scene where the plane explodes. Yeah, for sure, because I didn't really catch on that it was a Final Destination episode until the last 5 or 6 minutes of the actual episode itself. So, interesting to see that that was the case. I just couldn't believe that where Final Destination came from. Very awesome. But let's see if the Doctor was actually Jonathan Harris plays the Doctor, and he is famous for Lost in Space, playing Zachary Smith. I knew it. But anyways, that's it for this episode. Let me know, comment below what you thought. Next week I will read off your comments in the beginning of next week's episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue on this voyage to episode 156 of the Twilight Zone. Until next time, see you later.